people didn't like him.
Is there a reason?
He's taking advantage a lot. Also, a lot of taking and he's misusing so many things. So people were not happy, and I think they just went to the ministry, religious affair or something. Some people went maybe. So last week suddenly there was a meeting, and then the minister is very firm also like it. They are going to change all the organizations because so many people came and told him that this is the Buddhist country, 70% are Buddhist, so the president should be every time for Buddhist.
Right.
I felt it's fair. If something happened, if Buddhist president is, stand, it can be a big backup for us. If it is Christians or Muslims or Hindu is the president, minority president, if something happened, they cannot manage that. So many Buddhists can be, that attack also.
Yeah.
So he did it like that. The president that time he was not very happy also. He was not happy, but so many people like this, approve of this, announcement. So that was last Sunday, like that it happened. So I hope it will be going to work more and more, because immediately the government accept and asked with the Bangladeshi, ministry recently 3 days ago, and had a meeting with us also like that. Before that, nobody came and that had a meeting like that several times and with us. I mean, we are just ordinary people. The top level are religious leader, but this time, like us, like me also, get the involvement. I felt that it is more transparency also. Yeah.
So this change in the Interfaith Dialogue Group the greater transparency is about recognizing the majority religion,
Yes.
and then let's have the Buddhist
Yes.
leader.
For all the time, for president should be the Buddhist.
Okay. And when you say people agree with it, you mean in the group itself?
All the people agree,
right,
except that man.
I see.
That Christian.
Yes.
They are not happy yet.
I see.
So all the Christian, Hindu, and Buddhists were very happy, because it should be like that. Because this country is very sensitive. If something happened, only Buddhists can stand for the people, because 70% are majority and a lot of conflicts between the two religions. So,
right.
If Christians and Hindu are in the middle, they cannot do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd heard of the law, and the change.
Yeah.
I read it on the news, and I was wondering.
Yeah.
What the reactions were, and
so many people are happy.
Okay, interesting.
We are also happy. If something happened, also and then the best thing is the president is from Sri Lanka. And then the Sri Lanka president is very related to religions, the affair ministry. They are under the religious affair ministry. If something happened, the ministry can support these organizations to take everything, and then we can do more for the peace program also. We felt that.
The group, have you, particularly since change in government, NLD, has that had any impact on the group and how active it is? No, it's more related to who the president is.
We never had any, the connection with the NLD.
Right.
Never. And then one good thing is they never had, the connection with the monks also. They said that their idea is very good also. If monks come, that whether right or wrong, they had to nod it. Whether right or wrong, they had to nod it. So they are not allowed to come and form with the monks, only with the ordinary peoples, so that there cannot be any problems. But monks from the other sides are very unhappy. They don't like. They wanted to maybe involve, or they might think that they cannot influence on this. I felt like that. So some famous monks are criticized a lot these things also, and then they are chatting each other on the Bible group, and some people send us that. I like this because I didn't like before, because it is just sitting sleeping. The organization is just sleeping. I felt like it, but these 2 3 months, I felt that this is start active, and then the religious minister is very firm also. He is very firm. I never expect like that. He is going to tell like that. Last week we all were very relaxed, and I was sitting at the back, and then he was giving nearly an hour lecture, and I was just listening. And sometimes I'm not interested in it, also, to tell you the truth. At the same time, he said that he is going to change all the form, and he will put the president, only Buddhists, because so many people come and talk to him. I was shocked. Oh my God, this is the best way. And then he is very straightforward to do. And then he told to the Christians that you will be the general secretary as like before.
Right.
He was very unhappy. He wanted to see something. He never expected. We never expected. I felt that some people went there and then complained about him. Maybe I thought that Muslims people went to the Muslim people went to there because he didn't support Muslim very well. He discriminated Muslim also.
The Christian.
Yeah, that group. When he went to Rakhine also, they are taking advantage their own religions. Like that. It's okay. Like that.
It's fine.
So many people realized, and then they want to change.
So it's a good step.
Good step.
Yeah, and that was just recently.
Because I felt that I have been involving, and sometimes it is the organizations is just leaving and didn't do anything. If something happened, immediately do the prayers for the interfaith prayers, like flooded area or something like that. So instead of doing like this, we have to do from the very beginning what we are going to do for future, something like that. So,
you mean this kind of to be proactive rather than just respond, that you can actually do things before, rather than just react to issues or right, to be responsive. And this interfaith dialogue group, but also other activities. How do you see the influence or impact, or to what extent the religious leaders or this interfaith dialogue group has on the community level, on the grassroots level? You mentioned a bit through social media that you can have an impact. Can you elaborate more? How much do you see this interfaith dialogue group, for example, having impact on the community? Is it? You were saying sometimes it's sleepy. Now it's
people
more active.
Don't impressed by the interfaith dialogue group because they know the interfaith dialogue group is doing nothing.
Okay.
If something happened, they just went and run and do something immediately. So they were not impressed by the interfaith dialogue group. But start from this, and then we felt that it is more active, and people is paying attention right nowadays. Especially the meeting last week was announced in Myanmar newspaper, in English newspaper. Detail also what I said like that also. So people are much more interested in the data.
So it went to be proactive. That's a good thing rather than just respond. Yeah. And so also related to that, when we think about some of the tensions that have been taking place, Rakhine has had a big influence, but where do you see are some of, or the causes, the reasons for some of the tensions that exist between different religious communities? From your view, what is some of the root causes?
Politics. Exactly, politics. Before that, until 2010, nothing happened. After 2010, it happened. So that is totally politics, right? We can see, everybody can see that. Until 2008, 2009. Because I was transferred to Sidway University 20 years ago to teach English. That time nothing happened. Nothing happened. But there were some discriminated to Muslims. The Rakhine students, they don't like to be me to involve with the Muslim students. I was so desperately sad that they don't want me to talk with the Muslim students. But until then, I never heard about Rohingya votes.
Right.
10 years ago, we never heard about Rohingya votes. How come immediately this Rohingya also come again? So both sides are, that extremist.
Right.
Yeah, from this side also, I can see the politics is also, they don't want to let the Rohingya words to the ethnicities. Of course, the Rohingyas are Rohingya. They cannot say Rohingya also. They are Muslims. Yeah, they cannot come to the 135 ethnicity plus one. I felt that's my feeling. We cannot demand it. We Hindu, we Tamil want to be the ethnicities of the Myanmar 135, 36. Cannot. We are Hindu religion. So maybe that one also problem or politics. So both are confusing also. Right. So suddenly Rohingya coming also, we were so surprised that maybe we didn't know before what's here happening. But these Rohingyas were treated properly by the outsiders extremists, giving a lot of supports also. That is, we heard from several places because I have been to Rakhine State.
Right. Yeah, I've spoken with them as well.
Yeah. I like Muslims. People, my so many Muslims friends are, still friendly with me. They are good, but that Rohingya part is different. Different.
Because of the influence you think that they've had.
Yeah. They just ask suddenly their rights, Rohingya rights, or something like that. Actually, we never heard that word before. Right. But the one bad thing is from the other side also, they didn't give proper rights to the people, to the citizenship, something like that. So the Muslims cannot do, like Muslim at the same time Hindu cannot do anything without the official documents also. Right. It stopped their, future also there. They might have them, so many things inside and burst out. So the Hindu people were in sandwich and they were being so many problems also.
Yeah. Do you see, and then because you joined as well, you got interested in this because of the 2012 conflict as well. How much Rakhine has had an influence on the rest? Do you think it's, so what happened in Mandalay and in Metila, do you see that as separate to Rakhine, or do you see that as an influence, or, for example, in
government, of course, government. Rakhine people not interested in Mandalay area, Bago area, something like that. They are just only interested in Rakhine area. Rakhine people, that they are in their own world. They don't have any other idea to involve in other places. All these are systematically done by government.
And how much does the work that then you do in the interfaith community, do you see it having an influence in the government? So you're working with the religious ministry. If one of the causes is right,
politics. For something in good way, it will be going to be in good future. I felt that. I don't know why I'm feeling like that also. That while I listened the ministry's speech this time, I felt that this guy is not so bad. Before that is everyone is like superficial and then finish then done, go drink coffee, that's it. This time it's not like that, totally change our mind and totally change everyone's, that thought.
Right. And it was the religious minister who made the announcement.
Yes. Announcement.
Yeah. Could you share a bit more about what you were discussing, the so if we think of inclusion, and that can be across in these interfaith activities, that can relate to different religious communities. So to what extent do you see certain communities more included or not in these interfaith? So there's, if we kind of discussion on inclusivity, there's related to different minority religions, then you can discuss about youth inclusion, women, but maybe we start with your thoughts on it?
Some people, they don't like when we say interfaith. They said that they don't like it because that when we say interfaith, they thought that we are just promoting to Muslimization. We are just supporting to Muslims. They thought that. So most of the, 50% of the people from district in very rural area, they don't like interfaith words. When we say interfaith means, they thought that we are supporting to Muslims. We are creating more problems like that. So it is a big problem. So also all these depends on the government. Government has to change. Right now it is changing also. It is changing also. So that I am promoting also. Interfaith is very important. Youth, my Hindu youth are now much more interested in doing interfaith program also. They went to several organizations. They attended the workshop. They discussed. But very, that lack of knowledge and then backwards, they are just struggling right now.
Right.
I am, asking them to join with us together.
And so on this interfaith, the terminology. So what do you do in that situation? Do you use different? How do you address the issue?
Sometimes I address like a treasure lens like that. There's a peace education, and then promoting for the peace. Instead of sometimes interfaith, we use the word peace promotion with all religions and ethnicities. So they are happy. They are happy.
Peace education.
Peace education, and for all religions and ethnicities. So at least when we use ethnicities, that means all the Myanmar ethnicities can involve also.
Right.
So most of the time I use like that instead of interfaith.
Right.
Especially they don't like interfaith peace dialogue. They thought that is the government's, in-laws is the key person, main person, and then most of the people don't like. Right now we can change their attitude. So he already left.
Sure.
He is good. Actually, he doesn't have any problem. He didn't make any problem. He is good. He is very straightforward. He's very straightforward. But he is from the government's in-law, so he stand for the government side all the time.
Right. Is that an issue?
All the time.
Right.
Whatever government do, he thought that right. It is right. We can see that not all are right. Yeah.
Yeah. So using peace education as one way. And in terms of some of the challenges related to women's participation, sorry, I did have a question. When you said they, did you mean just when you were discussing that they didn't like, and do you mean the Hindu community or grassroots or?
Muslims few and Hindu few.
Yeah.
Those who have the very high position, they are having the high position. Suddenly I'm just a normal person. Suddenly I got a very high place with them, the same level. So they are not happy. Actually, some of them didn't know my background, that my dad was the president of All Burma Hindu Central Board. So many Hindu people knows my dad. But he passed away 28 years ago. He involved in politics. Right. Ex-Prime Minister UNU and my dad were very close friends. So my dad involved in his, that organizations during the uprising time, and then we all were being house arrested also. The same like the Prime Minister UNU sent 10 people, 10 houses at the same time. Like that. So after they realized, at least they noticed, but some are still, I don't want to say the words, actually I never say like that. They might be a little bit just jealousy on me. So they don't want to give me the place. They don't want to give me the same level with them. They are actually very, very higher than me. Not so many, 2 or 3 people, but those 2-3 people are very high level and they are very influential. So whatever they say, everybody agrees that whether like or not, they dare not to say. I cried and I told them, the rest of the people, you are doing interfaith peace program. How come you are keep quiet without saying anything? That man is doing like that. This man is doing like that. oh, this is, we know that, you know that, we cannot say something like that.
Right.
So I realized that. But at last, I have to do, I must do, I'm going to do like that. Because Raji always, supports me also, encourage me, teacher, don't stop it. You are doing so many things. We need you, he said like.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes I try to, Raji, he did it like that, deliberately doing it. Teacher, don't care that you are doing your own way and you are doing, so many people are following after you and they you. So 2-3 people, but those 2-3 people are very influential people. That is, we can see in everywhere, we can see in everywhere. We have to be, how to say, energy. We have to be strong also like that.
To be a leader, yeah.
Actually, I'm not a leader. I don't want to be a leader. I'm doing my own way in every aspect, and people notice me. Because very few Hindu ladies, so they give me a chance there. You come and talk here, you come and do here, you come and attend this meeting like that.
Do you feel that you inspire others? Have you noticed other women?
Yeah, of course. That's why I'm so happy that every day, making a phone call, messaging me, the ladies phone me, so many Hindu ladies phone me, other religions also, they said they envy me every time. So that makes me more energetic.
Yes. And in the different women in so for example Treasureland and the different organizations, to what extent do you feel that you work together, or
they were supporting me a lot because I always give a proper the suggestions to them. I always give the proper suggestions. Because of me, they had an idea the last 3 months, 4 months ago, the conference also like that, education, peace and education. I told, why don't you do peace and education program? There is no one doing the peace and education program. You start it. I make a phone call to NEACO. So NEACO, put the funding to the USAID, and she got it also. She is going to a proper way. She is the only one who is going to the proper way. She doesn't care anyone. She's doing herself the proper way.
Right. And so, say future thinking. How would you say, if you looked back, or even collectively at the interfaith work you do, what does, when you say, yes, we were successful, this worked, how do you know, or how does that feel like or look like to you to have done interfaith well or successfully?
Yeah, I can see, because the Siribu Siyadoti never give a chance to any lady in his life to give a talk in Myanmar.
Right.
So this is a big success. I can see the things. Right. And then the Interfaith Peace Dialogue Group. There are so many Hindu leaders that time, 3 or 4 years ago. But the 60th anniversary of the Prime Minister U Nu and Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru and Chewing Lai, for religions coexistence together, forming the organization 60th anniversary.
Right.
So the president of the Shwedakumbh, he made a phone call to me to give a talk. 5 principles. According to their 5 principles, I have to give a talk.
Right.
I thought that maybe 30-40 people, but I did proper preparation. My habit is I wear properly also like that. When I went there, more than 400 people were there. So many media around me also there. I was a bit, how to say that, uncomfortable.
Yes.
But I realized that I did the proper preparation. Then the first person, second person tell, my time is third time. I realized that I will be the person I can do very well also like them. When I give a talk on the stage, about 400 from different religions were sitting and listening, and they like me. So one of the ladies came, old ladies came and talked to me. You did very well. I like you. So I said, may I know who you are? So he said, she is the Unu's daughter. So I know Unu's daughter. One is Sansanu. That Sansanu used to come to around. I confused that. So don't you recognize me? I said. She said that she is not Sansanu, Kantanu from India. So she recognized me. At the same time, all 400 people recognized me. they just, yeah, how to say, recorded my speech. They went, some Hindu went to the Indian ambassador's place and then showed me a lady who gave a talk there, and then he listened and he asked me to come and talk also, and he supported me a lot.
Right.
And then the very next week, the Chinese group, they had a very big, the same like that, because Chu Ying-lang, also one of the founders, so they asked me to give a talk like that also.
Right.
So I feel that that is my contribution success.
And as you do this work, what kind of support do you feel you need or would be helpful for you? If it's not easy, the work you do.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it would come from an organization or what kind of, to do your work better or to do it, what would you need?
I need proper moral support from Hindu organization. Hindu organization didn't support me proper because our Hindu organization is Hindu Central Council. People are very, how to say that, the place for 14 years, they have been sticking for this organization for 14 years. Actually, there should be 4 years, 5 years later, they have to hand over to the other one. But they have got another connection with another Hindu group. That Hindu group is religious group. Actually, the religious group should be under the council, but the council, Hindu council, didn't work anything. Like my dad did a lot for all over the country, every place has go, and all the problems he solved it. After then, these people are for 14 years and they didn't do anything. So the religious one of the group, they are extending their group and they are above the central council. Whatever the religious group said, the central council accepted. So they were a bit reluctant to come to this position. They were very, very, how to say that they don't want me to come.
The council, the religious
not
group.
Council, religious.
The religious group.
Yeah, Sanantanam, SSDS.
Right.
They are doing very well. They are doing for Hindu youth and Hindu women, promoting things. But they are not doing like me, international on outside things. They don't want me to do like that because they thought that their organization will be losing. Because so many Hindu people notice me and talking about me at the back that I am the one who is my dad's main daughter is doing nowadays these things, and they were so happy like that. So when I sent a letter 3 years ago to the Central Council, please form proper Hindu women network so that I can do more for my contributions. So the council president phoned me 2 days later from this group. SDS said that they have the women group. So please don't form another women group. There can be the separation also like that. I said, you are doing religious way. I am doing from the community way and international way. They are different, totally different. But if you don't support, don't worry. I am going to do alone by myself.
Right.
So from that moment, I'm doing alone by myself. I formed Hindu Women Network. I'm the chairperson. I have some 4 or 5, 7 students, 3 boys and 5 girls. Whatever I do, they support me. Wherever I cannot go, they go for me. So something like that. So now they recognize me. At the same time, last month's end of the days should be the election day. They have to hand over to the people. But they were not fair. Their organization were playing games, and some of the Hindu. There are 10 ethnicities. Our ethnicity is 60% Tamil ethnicity. They went directly to the religious affair minister, and then very unfair this council. So the religious affairs stopped the very last day for the election.
Of the council. Sorry.
Council election. So right now it is pending, and then everyone is happy. We are happy because if they are handing over their same, their people, like the previous government is handing over and they are controlling at the back. Right now, we cannot control that. So we don't know what will happen, but nowadays they are competitive